Welcome to G Fun Facts Online, where we uncover the hidden science shaping our world. Today, we're digging into a story that starts in our fields and farms, but could end in our hospitals. A silent threat is rising, one that could turn back the clock on modern medicine. It's not a virus or a superbug bacterium, but something far more common: fungus. The very chemicals we use to protect our food are accidentally creating a new generation of drug-resistant fungi, and the consequences could be devastating. This isn't science fiction. It's a real-world crisis unfolding right now. At the heart of this problem is a mold you've definitely breathed in today. It's called Aspergillus fumigatus. It's everywhere, in the soil, on decaying plants, and floating in the air. For most of us, our immune system handles it without any issue. But for people with weakened immune systems, like cancer patients, organ transplant recipients, or the elderly, an infection from this fungus, called aspergillosis, can be fatal. Our main line of defense against aspergillosis is a critical class of drugs called azoles. These drugs are lifesavers, but their power is fading. Why? Because of what's happening on our farms. To protect crops and secure our global food supply, farmers use massive amounts of fungicides. And many of these fungicides are also azoles, chemically similar to the medicines used in hospitals. In the European Union alone, about 120,000 tons of these azoles are used every year, mostly in agriculture. This constant exposure in the environment creates a perfect breeding ground for resistance. It's simple evolution in action. The fungicides kill off the weak, susceptible fungi, but the naturally resistant ones survive. They thrive, they multiply, and they spread through the air. These are the strains that can then infect humans. The fungus isn't spreading from person to person, it's jumping from the environment to people. The scientific evidence for this link is undeniable. Researchers have looked at the genetics. They found that the exact same molecular resistance mechanisms in Aspergillus, from patients who've never even taken an antifungal drug, match the resistant strains found in agricultural fields. A key study from the University of Georgia found that fungal strains resistant to farm fungicides were also resistant to the clinical azole drugs. This cross-resistance is the core of the problem. The sprays used on our crops are so similar to our life-saving medicines that when a fungus learns to survive one, it can often survive the other. And this isn't a local issue. Before the year 2000, azole-resistant Aspergillus was practically unheard of. Today, it has been found on every single continent except Antarctica. In some parts of Southeast Asia, resistance rates are as high as 92%. The outcome for a patient with a resistant fungal infection is grim. The mortality rate for invasive aspergillosis is already high, but with a resistant strain, it can climb to a terrifying 100%. When azoles fail, there are very few, if any, alternative treatments. Certain environments, like large-scale compost facilities and areas with stockpiled agricultural waste, have become hotspots for breeding these resistant superfungi. This entire situation highlights a concept known as One Health, the idea that the health of people, animals, and the environment are all interconnected. What we do in one area has ripple effects in others, just like how the overuse of antibiotics in livestock contributed to antibiotic-resistant bacteria. So what can be done? This is a global problem that needs a global solution. First, we need stricter, coordinated regulations on how agricultural fungicides are used. We must assess their potential impact on human health before they're approved. Second, we need to shift towards more sustainable farming practices that don't rely so heavily on chemical fungicides. Going organic, for example, appears to be an effective way to reduce the evolutionary pressure for resistance. Third, we desperately need investment in research and development for new antifungal drugs that work in different ways. And finally, we need much better surveillance to track where and how these resistant strains are spreading. The silent creep of antifungal resistance from our fields to our hospitals is a stark reminder that our choices in agriculture have a direct impact on our ability to fight disease. Without immediate and collective action, we risk losing our most effective weapons against deadly fungal infections, pushing modern medicine into a dangerous new era. Thanks for tuning in to Fun Facts Online.